It's taking forever. Nope, it's on. Yay! It's working. It's on.
Yay!
It's been so long since me and you have sat down and had a nice little conversation. First thing I'm gonna do is pull up these so I can start screen sharing and
Yeah.
jump right into the beautiful, beautiful nonsense that is
Yes.
the
I
inside
can't
of
wait.
people's brains.
Ah, religious people. Comedy
It's not
gold.
just them, I've really noticed that obviously it's not just Muslims. Sometimes Christians say funny stuff too, but even people who are not religious, they'll be like, "I'm not even religious, but I can admit that these people like they know what they're doing. They're on the right track." Okay. So,
Yeah,
what
true.
the fuck is the screen share button? Lord Jesus, tell me where the screen share button. Oh, he has revealed the screen share button to me on the left. Thank you, Jesus.
Oh my god, you crack me up.
Okay, where's the okay, wait a minute. Will it let me? What just happened? What just happened? Oh, okay. It will only work if I share my entire screen. That's cool. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good. That's fine. It was a weird screenception for a second. Okay. This is the first one. This is a comment taken off of a YouTube video where in the video content was just like in a general, very good hearted way, kind of making fun of they weren't even making fun of like, Muslims. They were making fun of like Arabs kind of. But it
Yeah.
was like genuinely funny. Like I think even Muslims could find it funny. But anyway, this
Like a
guy
more
was very
open-minded
offended.
Muslim.
This man was very offended. Wait a minute. Let me go back. Oh, here it is. Actually, I skipped one. This is the first comment. My bad.
Okay. Begin.
Can you see the
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. So his username is Murphy Christian Apologet. I'm gonna guess that it's apologetics.
Or Apollo.
So
Yeah, it's probably that. Yeah.
there's nothing else it could be. Apologentrification. So do you believe everything came from nothing and that nothing had non-life to life and non-matter to matter? That a primordial soup molecule somehow advanced into a complexed fish called the Bryc I think it's
Called
he's trying to say
evolution, dude.
brachiopod, but he says brychoapod, brychoipod during the Cambrian explosion, then somehow into an ape to this irreducible complexed machine of molecular biological phenomenon. Phenomenon? Is that a Digimon? I want to catch that.
Oh my god, can I
You
just say
know,
that it's like, okay, you're using all these scientific terms, but you can't even wrap your mind around the concept that
of
yes, we can come from
evolution.
different, yeah, we can't even, I mean, he can't even just for a second think like, oh, it's not that, the fish became like an ape. Like there's different types of organisms. Like it's not gonna just be one type. I mean, obviously we're very diverse.
Yeah,
There's
and it
animals,
doesn't
there's
make the
plants.
immediate jump from a fish. They always ignore that it takes millions of years to go from a single cell organism to a multi-cell organism to like something that looks like an amoeba to a fish, like a tadpole to a fish with legs to an amphibian that crawls out of the water and then turns into not goes straight from a fish to a squirrel to a lemur to a monkey to a ape. But
Can
no.
I just say, I just okay. It's weird to me how they don't see. I don't know, man. I'm
No,
tired
it's funny.
of
I
religious
actually love
people.
his attempt at trying to sound like smart and scientific where he misspelled half the words. And then, because I love his a complexed fish into a complexed machine of molecular biological phenomenon. Honestly, you know, with people that aren't that intelligent, it's not that hard to make the leap. You know,
Hello?
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I'm back. Oh my God.
Oh, did you get kicked off? I didn't notice. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry. Anyway, I think we can go to the next one.
Okay, let's
This
look
is
at
the
it.
one that I was explaining earlier. I was setting up for. Anyway, it's on a video of a, cute parody comedy video. No big deal.
Okay.
So, that's not the Islamic culture. Islamic culture does not force you to wear a white hat to pray. Oh, you mean a kufi? That's not encouraged? Okay. And it does not include hookah or sitting in a cafe. Islamic and does not force your wife to obey you like a slave. Oh, watch
Yes, it
out, buddy.
does. Do you
Watch
think
out,
that
buddy.
the Arabic culture is like, yeah, you know what? For no reason whatsoever, we're just gonna make all the women slaves, like, to our thing and to like fucking cook meals and raise children and not go outside and cover their face. I'm sorry, but I feel like the Arabs, if they didn't have Islam, I mean, look at the Christian Arabs, for example. They're living good, they're living normal lives. They're not causing any trouble. And then you versus the Muslim ones who are causing all the trouble because it's not that their personalities are just naturally like that. They're just humans, you know what I mean? So obviously it comes from an ideology. It's and
Yeah,
of
of
course
course.
because
That's
the
all you have to do to dismantle the it's just culture argument is to compare
I mean, look at, for
people
example,
in the same
Indonesia,
country. Exactly,
like
Indonesia, Malaysia, like
like
they're
some
separate
Chinese people,
countries.
like yeah, like many different people. It's like, what do they have in common? It's Islam.
hmm
They're
You
from different
compare
cultures.
a Muslim population in the same country to a Christian population in the same country, and there's no comparison if there certain types of violent crime rates are higher within the Muslim population, or certain types of ideologies are more popular, like about women not really being on the same level as men, and that women should be at home and men should be the ones working, and all these gender roles, if I may say.
Yeah, and can
Of
I point out
course.
one other thing? I know an atheist guy who used to be a really religious Muslim, and okay, so he was really religious, and then he became atheist, but he still holds. It's like he's still poisoned by his old ideologies because one time he was talking to me because I want to be a lawyer. And he was like, why don't you become a teacher? Why don't you become a nurse? Why don't you become a secretary? And see, there's no problem with those jobs, not at all. I don't find them, like disgraceful or something. But why did he say that to me? It's because it's like a stereotypically feminine type of job,
Yeah.
like, oh, be a secretary, be a nurse. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
more
and
of
then
a
and then when
like
I said,
gender
and then I
problem.
argued that, and he was like, "What are you talking about? There's a lot of male teachers." I'm like, "Yeah, that's like, oh, can you say there's a lot of male secretaries? Maybe in America and stuff, but not where he's from." Um,
Mm.
but anyways,
Yeah, anyway, let's finish reading the thing. So, does not force your wife to obey you like a slave. Islamic culture is about humanity, respecting humans and how to be a good human, and forces you to help people that needs help and being helpful to everyone. I like that he used the key word forces you to help people,
yes,
because it does in the one of the five pillars, the zakat thing. I find a huge problem with zakat, because
yeah,
forced charity, like, what's the good in forced charity? I mean, obviously it's doing good for the people that are receiving it, but it's like the highest level of virtue signaling. It's like, I do charity. Yeah, you do charity because you have to, not because you want it to. Like,
exactly.
and if you're being forced to do charity, that takes the altruism right out of it. I don't know, but that's just an opinion.
Exactly. And they always argue that, um, like
We're
there's
so
atheists,
giving. We
right?
do charity.
No,
You
but
do
no,
it.
it's actually something
Oh,
different.
the
When
atheists,
they
you
when
mean?
they compare themselves to other people, they'll be like, "Oh, look, the atheists don't or like agnostic or whatever. They don't have real morals. Like they have no guiding force." It's like, okay, I've seen so many billionaire atheist people who are maybe they don't come out and say that they're atheists, but they don't claim any faith specifically. So it's like they're doing way more charity, and you can tell that they're genuine because they don't have God looming over them telling them, hey, if you don't do this,
Yeah,
you're
there's no one
gonna.
forcing them. There's no threat of hell. So honestly, someone who does charity without the threat of hell is more, virtuous in that particular charity. I mean, obviously, the good is gonna do good either way, but if you're judging the value the values of the person itself, you know, there's some people who do charity and they don't even want to like say it. They don't even want to get recognized. They want to be like, I just want
Yeah.
to do this anonymously because it's not about me bragging to everyone about what I did. It's just about
Oui,
the
oui,
good getting
exactement.
done.
Très bien. Super. Sorry.
All right, let's go to the next one. Okay. Oh, I love this one. So I think this is just like, mm, mm. This is just a rando guy. I don't think he's Muslim or anything. So check
Hmm.
this out. Let's read this. Too late realized that Muslims and Catholics were right. Now, due to freaking modernists, atheist liberals have taken over. Homosexualized men crying for their feelings, being
Sorry.
hurt, women raising children alone, college students crying in their
Well, if
safe
the men wouldn't have
spaces,
left, then they wouldn't have to do that.
trans people demanding to use same bathroom as our daughters, and a huge etc. Too late, man. Too late now, says Señor Fernando Martínez. Y déjame decirte algo, Fernando Martínez. ¿Sabes? I don't want to, because I don't want to curse out this man. Because I feel embarrassed
that he's
that
Spanish.
he's Latino.
Latino,
Like,
my bad.
don't,
You
no
know
me
how I
hagas
get those confused.
eso. Eres terrible. Okay, so
Terrible.
he's like, Muslims and Catholics were right. Well, you're neither of the above since you're referring to them from an outside perspective. So no,
I
they
mean, he's
weren't right.
probably a
Like just
Catholic
because,
though.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, most, a lot of Latinos are Catholic, but it's just fun. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck to say about this. Like, it's possible to not, okay, clearly he's coming from a thing of like not liking the far left and SJWs and all
Hmm.
that stuff, which, okay, it's possible to do that without going way on the other side of the spectrum and being like
You can be a
hardcore
fence
extreme
sitter.
religious people were right all along and we need to buckle down and be super strict and shit. Headphones
Yeah.
came out. Sorry. Wait, say something because I don't know what the
Say
fuck this. Oh.
something. I'm giving up on you.
Yes. Yeah. It's just this was embarrassed. Man, those Muslims must laugh at us Western guys getting bossed around by our Western girls. I cut that by oh, look at, he has Master Roshi. That was an accident. Oof. Oof. This one right here. Prepárense. Look at this.
Hmm.
So he says, do good unto others and good shall come to you, Prophet Muhammad. And then the guy replied to him, have a 9-year-old wife to molest, Prophet Muhammad. You know what I love about the first quote? He says it as if for he spelled it wrong. It says pro heterosexual, maybe? So he says it as if Muhammad was the first one to ever come up with this quote. Like this did not exist before him. No, he just parroted
Okay.
this. Come
Can
on.
I say, Muhammad having so many wives leads me to believe like maybe he was battling with his sexuality because he wanted to prove to people that he was a man, like that he wasn't,
Of course. There are I don't know. I wouldn't go so far as to say that. There's a lot of theories about, what his real issue was, but I personally think it has
maybe
more
he
to
couldn't get
do
it up, so he
with the
had to
cult
have many
leader.
wives to
That is
get it up.
honestly that is a very strong possibility because of the simple fact of how much bragging he did and
Yeah.
how much he had to overemphasize it and make sure that everybody knew, and not just him, but he would like have other people spread this rumor as well. So he'd be like, Aisha, go make sure that you tell people in
Tell all your
Hadith.
little friend, all your
Make
9-year-old
sure,
friends.
yeah, make sure you tell everyone about how much he went to all his wives in a single night.
Yeah.
And then he had his other
He had
buddy
nothing better to do.
saying
God
the same
damn.
thing. Sahaba have hadith about him going to all his wives in a single night, and that he had the stamina of a horse and a donkey and all this stuff, and he had a dick. Like, it's like, is this really the most of our concerns? Um, that we need to be. Yeah, it is suspicious just because. Why
Yeah.
is so much emphasis put on that? But you know what I was gonna say is that it's not that he was battling his sexuality. I mean, we won't ever know that for sure, but the number of women that he had, I think, had more to do with the cult leader mentality, and because
Mhm.
he had the personality of a lot of cult leaders. And one thing that you'll see that
Yeah,
they have in
true.
common is that they like to collect women, and it's this complex they have. I don't know, but if you've ever noticed cult leaders, that's one of their things, is that they collect women and they segregate the women in their group from the men, and they'll like just prey on the women. And
Yeah.
I haven't studied cults extensively, but I have like a few off the top of my head that I'm thinking of, and that's one of the things that they have in common. They
Hmm.
always prey on the women, and they just want to have, you know, it's all about the numbers. It's about how many they can have. It's a power thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, so let's continue. So this one right here follows into the next one. So this guy commented, you know, have a 9-year-old wife to molest, and then and then as soon as he said that, everyone jumped on his shit, of course. So
Yeah, of course.
this guy said, replying to the previous guy, people married young those days. No such thing as pedophilia back then. No such thing as pedophilia. Even if she was 2 years old, 3 years old, like, it doesn't, that, like, pedophilia was not defined. Like, it wasn't the same thing. You know, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Like, people will go to such lengths and make such claims,
I'm
to try
sorry,
and
but
justify old shit.
it's like saying that people back in the day literally had zero morals ever and were the most moral ever in existence, and that, adult men looked at a little kid that was 5 or 6 or 7 and were like, that would make a great wife. I'm so sure that people even back then, I swear, I don't know. Obviously, I can never go back in time, but I'm so sure that we're not so different. Like, we're still humans, and even if they were in that time, it doesn't mean that they would just be like, oh, this is acceptable. Even what's her name, Aisha's father, when he found out that the prophet wanted to marry her, he was like, but you're an old man. He's that's a thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
he
he was like, "You're an old man. You're my brother. You're like, come on, don't do it,
ew, uncle
please."
love.
And then he was like, "No, we're only brothers in Islam. It's okay. It's not incest." And honestly, like, you know, if you read the hadiths, it seems like Abu Bakr was trying like his hardest, and Muhammad had an excuse for everything. So he he just, you know, finally gave in because Muhammad was very manipulative, and he kind of used his I'm the prophet of God as a free pass to do everything. And so
Yeah.
when they when they would say anything that he didn't like, or disagree with him, it would be like, oh, oh, you hear that? Oh, I'm getting revelation from the angel Gabriel. He's right next to me. I know you guys can't see him, but I swear he's whispering to me right now.
Wait, wait, just
And
got
he
a phone
just
call from Gabriel. He just informed me that I can do whatever the fuck I want, so shut the fuck up. Thank you.
you're like, so it'll always be like, oh, he just came out the door. I mean, just the other day I read a hadith where it
I
was
mean,
so
you know
funny.
how selfish
Aisha said,
this is?
Muhammad goes, oh, there's Gabriel right there. He's standing right there. You, you know, say hi to him. And Aisha's like, I
Hi.
I can't see him. You know, she said, verily, you see things which I cannot. And I was like, he sure does. I don't know if we should take this as a sign that he is hallucinating or he's full of shit.
Yeah. I feel like Aisha was like
Oh.
the only woman that was with him that could see his bullshit because she didn't choose to be with him. Like all the other women were, they were older and they had a chance. They were more like they saw the privilege of being his wife, but Aisha had to be his wife from like, 6 years old or whatever, or like 9 years old. So it's like she sees him in a different way, like this abusive, rapist dude that she has to live with against her will, and that stole her fucking childhood. So that's why she like I feel like she low key has like these disses for him, but maybe he's not smart enough or wasn't smart enough to notice them. And I feel like even oh my god, I forgot to tell you something. Okay, it has to do with what we're talking about. Okay, so you know how all the other people didn't notice his bullshit, but except Aisha. So there's this, Bukhari, right? And in Arabic, I realized like it just like never occurred to me that Bu is like father. I guess it sounds like father, and then Khari is like shit. So it's like father of shit. Like that's literally the meaning in Arabic, like Bukhari.
Abu
Like
Khara. It sounds
yes,
very close. And then on top of that, it's like boo is like bull, and then khari is like shit. It's like bullshit. I don't know. It's like
yes,
the first two letters of like bull. It's it's like Bukhari is bullshit. But no, we don't want to give them more ammo, right? Because if Bukhari is bullshit, then you can only but here's the thing, it's just so full of holes because you can't. They always say you can't have the hadith, you can't have the Quran without the hadith. You need hadith to put in contract. What the fuck is that word? Context. Yes, yes, you
yeah.
do, and that's why we're here. So, anyway, that
Oh,
being
can I
said,
say something?
we're gonna finish
From the
reading.
comments, somebody said, "Oh, can you do a face reveal? Well, like a reveal." It's
I
like,
know, I saw
hell
that.
no,
I already replied.
hell no.
Hell no. Okay. In all seriousness, we had a friend. We had a guest on the show a couple months ago, and the video is still up and available. And if she were to ask me to delete it, I would. Um, and she had videos on her channel which had her face in them. And recently or not too long ago, she deleted all of her videos, and she had a more recent video that was up like a couple days ago, and someone in the comments asked her, "Why'd you delete all your videos?" And she said, "Safety." Like just one word, safety, and that was it. And I think the only reason that she uploaded videos and her videos were like 10 seconds long with like music in the background was just to show people that she was still alive, because I
Yeah,
think she was getting swarmed with like emails asking like, "Are you okay? You haven't uploaded anything. You deleted all your stuff,
yeah,
and we're worried about you." So it is dangerous. People always try to act like, it's no big deal out here. And that's just not true. It doesn't matter what country you live in, like fanatics do exist, and you have to take precautions where you got to do what you got to do.
yeah. I mean, I don't advise anyone to ever have a face reveal or show themselves talking about this unless they have like a big support system or people around them that can protect them
Yeah.
because it's like you're
And
gonna
there's people
die.
who are like really, really famous and popular. Well, not famous, but like YouTube famous, and they have like a million followers. Where in their case, I think it's okay because they already have an established thing. And a lot of times
Yeah.
their channel is not all about Islam, and they're not even ex-Muslims. They're just like, people who are never like converts or anything, and they'll just like make a video commenting about it and then go back to their um regular content, which is
Lives.
very different than an ex-Muslim talking about it, because we go a lot more in depth, and that is very threatening and intimidating to a Muslim, because they'll be like, you know, oh, they feel that other people's stuff is more easily refuted or whatever.
Sorry, I just saw Allahu Satan when he said, "I deceived
Yeah, that is
Muhammad by
funny.
transforming into an angel of light and choked him while asking him to read." Yes, I've
Choked him
always
from the
thought about
back.
that.
Like
That sounds
anyway.
creepy.
Wait, we're gonna be here forever. Okay,
Yeah, go
anyway.
ahead.
So when he let's finish this comment. So the first guy said no such thing as pedophilia back then, and then this girl said he never touched Aisha ever. He only marries her to take care of her. And I love this. argument.
She didn't have a father. She didn't have a mother that were taking care of her
Yeah,
before.
like her father was not Abu Bakr. No, but no, the reason I love this argument because like even if she was an orphan, is it necessary to marry someone to help them? My bad. I didn't realize that's how charity works. I've been doing charity wrong this whole time because whenever they say Muslims are so giving and generous and they do a lot of charity, my bad. I have to reevaluate charity. It is not possible to help someone without marrying them, and I did
Of
not know
course.
that. So now we have
Of
to go
course.
back and like
How else would you help
anytime
them
they have
sexually
orphans,
and physically and
if you go to the orphanage, you can't adopt that bitch. You have to marry her. Get your shit together.
of course, because if she gets a little bit older, she might
But
have a, her she might start
but it's
looking
so
cute and
stupid because,
stuff.
like you said, he didn't need to adopt her because she had a father. And if he,
Yes.
and Abu Bakr said, I am your brother. And if he was like, I'm trying to support your daughter, which is weird. Okay. So if you really, really need to help him so bad, then give the money to Abu Bakr or help him or support him or help him find a job or put him up in a house or whatever the case is. Oh, but you're trying to just help his daughter. You're trying to help
I
support her.
mean,
Get the
they
fuck
were
out of my
wealthy
face.
for that time, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
like all of the Sahaba, like all his friends were wealthy. Like because at that time, of course, they probably would look like nothing in comparison
And
to
now
modern
you want
day,
to see this
but they
dumb
were
little
rich
thing.
back then.
It's
So
annoying.
if she had a
I was
father,
only
she
able to
was
see
not an
that.
orphan. There was no reason to marry her. He lusted over a child. So yeah, I
Of
love how
course,
like
like
Muslim
we know that. He
women will
was
defend everything,
trying to.
like even if it's something that's detrimental to their own gender, you know. I mean, this girl who said this, like, if she had a kid, would she, if the prophet came back, I don't know, he'll be like,
Of
"Oh, I
course,
want your
it's
daughter."
absurd. I'm gonna tell you a quick anecdote. When I was young, I don't know, I was like 8 or 9 or something. My mom very matter of factly said, yeah, Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6, but he didn't consummate until she was 9. And I was around that age. And so of course it resonated with me. I was like, wait a minute, I'm very young and I know that I'm way too young to be getting married. So
Yeah,
I said, nah, isn't that kind of weird? Like, I wouldn't feel right if I was to get married, and I know that that doesn't seem like the correct age. And then she just spun the same old, like, oh, but it was, stuff was different back then. People used to get married younger. And I didn't press the matter further. And, you know, it's not that she came up with that herself. She had been told that by someone
yeah.
else who had been told that, and then she told me that. And so it's kind of like this really old excuse that's just been passed on as a cop out
I
thing
can't
to
believe that
say.
people actually like. Oh God, no! It's like that's why people have mental gymnastics. Like they go through that just because they know that it's wrong, but it's like, oh, but it's the religion. We can't say that. It's wrong to say it's wrong, even though it's wrong. Like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah, because if you admit one thing is wrong, you have to admit all of it is wrong. And it's Islam's fault that that is the structure. If it was possible to admit that one part was wrong, it would be more versatile. But because the
Oh,
way
it
they
can
have
never
it
be
set
that
up,
way.
yeah, because the way they have it set up, it's not helping them, it's hurting them. But anyway, let's read the next
Yeah,
comment.
go ahead.
Okay. So this was on a video about the Queen Elizabeth. It says, she is the descendant of Nimrod, king of Babylon, the height of Kuffar, and bloodline of Satan worshipping trannies. What?
How rude.
I,
That is the queen.
I knew, the first part I was like, yeah, height of Kuffar, bloodline of Satan worshipping trannies. Okay, you lost me. All right.
I'm sorry, isn't she related to the prophet or something?
That's what they say. Of course not. Oh man.
I feel like I've seen this
You
picture
have.
before.
I think
Yeah.
I sent it to you, and also I low key used this picture in my last video. But this is
Yeah.
from a long time ago. The Islam page on Facebook. I used to follow them before I apostated. So this is hilarious because I took the screenshot before
You
I
still follow them.
Yes, I do. I don't think I unfollowed them, but they stopped posting because people actually, you know, ironically, well, not ironically at all, the reason they stopped posting is because the moderator was too liberal and the people in the comments would always be like, hey, you keep posting stuff that's not true about Islam, like, astaghfirullah, you need to be on, like, be more
Honest, yeah.
honest and upfront and like, this is, you need to be more strict with your what you're saying, basically. So he would say things that were
Yeah.
like too liberal, and then they would be like, oh, hell no.
I mean, I feel
So
like the person who runs the Muslim page is probably like an atheist or something.
you
There's no
always
way
say
that
that.
there's like
I don't think so. I think it's more like some, empowered hijabi chick who is like a hijabi feminist or whatever type of oxymoron. And she like there was multiple moderators, but it just kind of died off the Islam page. I don't I don't
Mhm.
I know I remember unfollowing them. They just stopped posting one day. Anyway,
Yeah.
so there was this article, lightly beating wife permissible, says proposed women protection bill. The women protection bill. This is sad. The women protection bill says lightly beating is okay. And then of course he said Muslims of Pakistan, which that's the first mistake. Muslims of Pakistan are some of the most strict in the world. So you picked the wrong place. So he said, raise their voices against these mullahs who are destroying the last prophet teachings and abusing and insulting Islam. So clearly you haven't read the Quran or the Hadith in this case. And and I'm almost done. The little emojis like are mad and sad, and the mad ones like, are they mad because this guy is lying? And it actually does say this in the Quran and Hadith. We'll never know. Oh, I
I
gotta zoom in
mean,
on this
we have a
shit.
whole thing that we're going to talk about with the Bukhari one, with the Bukhari
Oh,
hadiths.
Khari. Oh, what about it?
Bukhari. Father of shit. God damn, I love it. Bukhari.
Bull. That's beautiful. Bulkhara. It does sound very close. All right. So I don't even remember what video this was from. Let's just get into it. This is why
Okay.
I never call myself a feminist. In Islam, women have had rights for over 1400 years. Yeah, right to make me a sandwich, that kind of rights. Okay. In certain cultures, they're still behind. But let's not forget that women in the West didn't get their rights till the 20th century. They call themselves revolutionary, and Muslim women caves women? They're blind and ignorant for claiming those things. I am for the equal rights of men and women, even though the Quran tells us that women have a much higher status than men.
Where? And also,
Where?
I'm pretty sure that in
Lord Jesus.
Scandinavia, like in those areas, women were more free than a Muslim woman ever was, ever, like in any situation. Because I did my research, and I saw that they had a lot of rights. They could fight. They could choose their own path. And they were pagans back then, so like pagans were a little bit more liberal with their women than the Muslims. I mean, also like in comparison to the Christians too, they were pretty strict too.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
think that this is just a ridiculous statement to make. Uh, because first of all, they're saying women had their rights. Women in the West didn't have their rights, but you're not talking about which rights specifically,
I
like the right to vote or something, which is
mean,
something that's looked up.
well, Muslim women didn't have the right to vote either.
No, of
Like,
course.
what the
Of
fuck?
course. But like
Some women
exactly, it's
in the
so
world can't
misleading.
even drive and shit. Like, and
Exactly,
I'm
they
not
still
talking about
can't
the laws.
drive.
I'm talking about their own families stopping them from driving and going to
Yeah,
school.
stopping them from going to school, having an education, trying to have a
Because
career,
God
and
forbid.
literally,
Satan forbid.
Yahweh forbid. No, but like, yeah, I think it's just funny. women have had rights for over 1400 years, and it's like you don't specify which rights they've had. They have, like, I don't know, the right to breathe oxygen and drink water, the most basic of rights.
They have the right
They
to
have the
cook you
right
some
to,
meals,
yeah, exactly,
bear you
cook
some
you.
children,
Hmm.
and that's it. What else? Bear you children, cook and clean. And is there any other rights? Like go outside to the market to buy groceries? Maybe. Like sometimes if he's too busy and he's tired,
I
you know,
mean,
and he doesn't feel
they
like going
have
with
the
her.
right to like do that if he has to go off to war and fight in the war. They have the right to become a widow very young and be shamed for not being a virgin anymore and have a very hard time finding another husband because she's a used up old widow.
Yeah, she
And
already got
and now she can't find
she
a
already got the
job.
D. You know, you can't
Wonderful.
once you get the D,
Such
you can't go
rights.
back. Like
but
once you get it, it's like over for you, man. You worthless.
women in in the West didn't get their rights, and again says it in such a vague, ambiguous way, as if having rights is just a one-time thing and it's not a gradual process, and that there are different rights that you can get. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
no. Like, no. Women in the West have been able to do a lot of stuff that y'all haven't been able to do.
And
And
still
that's
can't do.
just a fact. I know, it's just a fact. Like, and then they try to, like, the only right that was the last one that we got was the right to vote. And then boom, like, we're equal. So,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I'm thinking
But
about
I
it,
love
and
it. The
it's
Quran tells us women have a higher status than men. Like you said, where?
like where, I mean,
People just
I
make
had
these
an
baseless claims, and then they say to us, cite your sources, tell me the ayah and the surah. You tell me the ayah and the surah. Because
you know,
nowhere.
my uncle's I mean my aunt's husband, who I guess is my uncle, um he he said to me one time, I said something like, oh, I hate the fact that women are considered half, you know, the witness, I guess, of a man. Like they're you know, basically saying that for inheritance, like women get like half of that of a man, of their
Hmm.
brother.
Yeah.
And he was like, you have to remember, Sarah, that God favors men over women, and
Hmm.
men are better than women. And I did this weird laugh where I was like, yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Okay, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking in my head,
Thank you
I'm
for
like,
confirming.
yeah.
Okay.
No, but seriously, this is how some men think. Like one time this guy told me, and this he's not even a Muslim anymore, but he said this is why women's minds are weak or some shit. Like he said something like, this is why a woman is not as smart as a man. A woman is you know, he said he would never allow himself to be taught by a woman. The only thing that he would allow, okay, so it was like martial arts, and he said something along the lines of, I would never like let a woman teach me martial arts. Okay, I can understand that a little bit. You know, it's like a physical thing. Maybe you're sexist. It's cool, whatever. But then he said the funniest shit. He said, I guess to like save himself from being totally sexist. He said, I would like let you know, I would have a female teacher if it was like from math or something like, you know, technical. And I'm
Something
thinking,
that
okay,
in
okay,
mind
so
that wasn't physical.
yeah, but that's stupid. You just said that women were you know, their minds are sick and corrupted and weak. So why would you get a lesson from a woman, you know, if they're so they have such weakness in their mind? And also another thing, I literally think, well, I think he said that just because he didn't want to seem super sexist in front of me, because I don't even think that he would want a woman to teach him math. And also, let's not forget that just a couple of years back, like maybe like 20 to 30 years back, uh, you know, women were not even seen at the same level in terms of math or like physics or science or anything. So
Yeah.
just a couple of years back, it wasn't even acceptable for, you know, a woman to even be good at that shit, you know. Um, so, anyways, I just wanted to point that out because Islam is really sexist. So fuck that guy's comment because he's stupid, and we're not. And according to Islam, we're not above a man, because if we were above a man, or we have more rights, then we wouldn't be punished by the angels for deciding that we're tired that day and we don't want to fuck. You know, I mean, think about it, getting punished for, you can never, basically in Islam, you're not comfortable ever. You can't be comfortable with your man. Like if he wants to fuck you, you have to fuck. Like you can't let him go to sleep all angry and shit. If you have your period, well, go fuck yourself. Even though God made you have it, and it's a biological thing that He forced upon you. You know, don't come near me. Don't. I'm not gonna touch you, and I'm gonna go and you can't pray either. So fuck you. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm done ranting. Yeah.
So I just want to say real quick before we go on that I was not seeing all of the messages in the chat, so I apologize to some people who might have messaged me because it was only showing me like the top chat and not the full chat. So I'm sorry, I didn't see them. But anyway, moving on. So this is the next message. Is the next
Mhm.
comment is pretty similar to the one we just saw. It was on the same thread or whatever. So those women call themselves revolutionary and us cave women, whereas they don't know that the women before Islam used to wear short clothes or were half naked, and at that time it was concept that covered women are free and half naked are slaves. Women,
I
women
mean,
now,
I've watched Vikings, so that's true.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
thing about that is that just because something is true back in the day, like doesn't mean that it's still true. And also, half naked are slaves. Yes. Do you see anyone out here walking around topless with a loincloth?
Oh my God, this I can give you a good example. Back in the day, being tanned was seen as something undesirable because that means that you're outside, slaving around, like doing manual labor. But now, and
Oh.
pale skin was seen as
Pale
beautiful
skin is
because
like
that means you stayed
you
at home.
you're
You're
inside the
royalty.
castle getting fed grapes by a busty
Yeah,
slave girl and you're in the shade and you don't have a tan. That makes
exactly.
so
And now
much
it doesn't, and,
sense.
and now it doesn't
Yeah.
apply anymore because now to be tanned is like, oh my God, you went on a vacation. You're
Yeah,
having
you're this
fun. You're doing
bronze
this.
goddess.
And if you're
Exactly.
pale, you're basically staying at home doing nothing with your life.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with thin people versus like bigger people back then. If you were bigger, chunkier in the cheeks, it meant that you were wealthy and that you could afford food, and that was a good thing. If you're skinny, you're starving, that's not a good thing. That means that you probably can't provide for your family. Obviously,
Yep.
we're here in the Western civilization where that's not an issue anymore. So nowadays, if you're chunkier in the cheeks, it's because you're not hitting the gym and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, to take something from a long time ago and pretend that it applies today just because that's what it was back then is kind of counterproductive because I can do the same thing. But, when I do it, y'all don't like it when we take stuff from back then because then you'd be like, no, 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 out of context. You can't take stuff from the past to try to make it apply to today. Only I'm allowed to do that.
I mean, and also now it really doesn't apply. Like, covered women are not as free as women who can wear whatever the fuck they want. It's all about the choice in the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
not about wearing short shorts or whatever. You're free. You're a free woman or man
Exactly. In the end
when
of
you
the
get to
day,
wear what you want.
it's about even someone who's not a Muslim. If a girl, in general, okay, if a woman is in an abusive relationship and her abusive boyfriend is saying, no, you're not going to wear a dress. I want you to put on some baggy pants and a baggy shirt right now. Or, if you want to go to the pool or the beach or whatever, like you're not going to wear that bikini. You're going to wear what I tell you to wear. Then it doesn't matter what clothes it is. If it's not her choice, then that's like someone else controlling her, and that's like
Exactly.
the person. So it doesn't fucking matter. It's all about someone controlling you versus you having the choice. And that's why I have a problem with feminist hijabis who claim that hijab is a choice. It may be a choice for you, and that's fine, but for some people it's not a choice, and you don't get to speak for
Hmm.
them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
women nowadays call themselves modern, but sadly they are following the footstep of ignorant women of Stone Age, so-called
How are
free
they
women.
ignorant? Oh my God, that is so fucking stupid. If they were slaves, they had no choice but to dress the way
Yeah,
that they
that's
did or not.
true.
So fuck you, bitch.
If they were
How dare you
slaves, they
talk
were
about those
automatically
women?
ignorant. What the fuck?
Oh, ancient people. Fuck you, bitch. You ain't shit. Anyways, sorry.
They are actually slaves of men and are brainwashed by them. Islam introduced women right and guide them a better way of life. I actually really like this part where because a lot of people say this like Western women are brainwashed by men and the patriarchal male media that they should want to dress scantily because that shows that they're free and they're not oppressed and goes back to what going back to what I said before. No, it's not about someone telling you what to wear. True freedom is you wearing what the fuck you want to wear and no one telling you what to wear or controlling your clothing choices. Now if the media, the big bad media was to tell me right now that I have to wear a crop top and shorts, if I don't feel like it and I'm not comfortable doing it, guess what? I'm not going to do it because
Yeah.
no one is going to force me or control me to wear something I don't want to. Wow. I never thought of it that way.
This woman is so stupid. She thought that she was making a point, but so sad.
Look at that. So I think we got to the end of
Okay.
the comments, which is good because we're
Mm-hmm.
actually getting to the beginning of the hadiths, and this is when the real comedy starts because hadiths are freaking gold. So I've I found a bunch of hadiths. Don't hate me, but there's so many, so we're gonna have to like not spend too much time on them, or else this
Okay, go
stream's gonna be
ahead.
3 hours long. No, but move stuff around over here. So this first one, it says, and uh, fuck, do I remember words? Speak English, bitch. English, bitch. Do you speak it? Bukhari. Every single one of the ones that I'm about to show you are from Bukhari because I was just scrolling through browsing Bukhari in general. So these are just a few of the ones. I actually was going through it for a while, just like absently reading them until I realized, like, dude, I should start screenshotting some of this stuff because they're pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, keys of the unseen knowledge are 5, which nobody knows but Allah. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow unless he has a schedule and plan. Okay, I'll give him this one. Like, yeah, if you're being really vague, okay, nobody can exactly predict the future. Okay, I mean, you haven't really proven that Allah can predict the future or that he even exists, but I'll give you that one. Nobody knows what is in the womb. Wrong. I'm pretty sure ultrasound technicians can tell if you have a male or female fetus. So sorry, you got one wrong. Nobody nobody knows what he will gain tomorrow. Again, this is like the
uh, some
first one.
people some people know what they're gonna gain tomorrow because they have a plan. And they know what they're gonna get.
Yeah, I
Some
mean, if my
some
payday is tomorrow, I know I'm gonna gain a couple $100.
yeah.
And if I don't, I'm gonna hunt these bitches down and be like, "Where's my check? You better direct deposit me right now, bitch." No,
Bitch
but
better have my money.
yeah. Um, nobody knows at what place he will die. Again, this can go one of two ways, but it doesn't prove just because we don't know this doesn't prove that there's some, ethereal being out there who does know this. Just
Hmm.
saying like, oh, nobody knows this but Allah, like prove that he knows it. You cannot prove that he knows it because you can't even prove that he exists. But there's a loophole to this. Nobody knows what place he will die unless he plans to commit suicide in a parked car at the back of an abandoned building and shoot his brains out in the driver's seat at 5:45 p.m. Then yeah, he does know what time and place he'll die. And
Exactly.
nobody knows when it will rain. Meteorologists? Damn, he really lost it with this one. Nobody knows when it will rain. That's how you know the time that
Unless you do
this.
the rain dance, you
Oh,
pray for it.
yes, the rain. Exactly. You got to do the fucking rain dance. He said nobody knows when it will rain. I'm sorry. Did they not know what clouds were back then? Like,
I don't
no,
think so. I
no,
think
they
I
didn't.
think they thought the heavens were crying and shit.
No, the angels were crying and clouds just came out of freaking nowhere and the storm clouds. And yes, actually, they were very superstitious and he thought angry storm clouds were. We'll get to that in a second. All right.
Yeah.
Where's the next one? Oh, you know what? So remember what it said here. Nobody knows what is in the womb. This is beautiful. This is too much text. So we're not going to read all of it. We're going to skip forward. So there was this dude who heard about Muhammad and he went up to him and said, I'm going to ask you three things that nobody could possibly know unless he was a prophet. So these are the three
Okay.
questions. Prepare yourself. Firstly, what is the first portent of the hour? Second, what is the first meal of the people of paradise? And third, what makes a baby look like its father or mother?
Oh my God. Can I just say, how the fuck would he know if the answer was correct or not?
Exactly. He asks three questions that he has no way of verifying. So already the the format is unfalsifiable.
Yeah.
This is what it is. So he looks off into the distance and goes, "Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Oh, cool. I had no idea." Turns back to the guy. Just now, Gabriel has informed me about that. Adela said, Gabriel? Okay.
Man, that sounds like
Yeah.
the Shinigami that like
He
follows him
said,
around.
he, among the angels, is the enemy of the Jews.
What?
Gabriel's the enemy of the Jews.
But I
What the
thought
fuck?
that the Jews also believe in Gabriel and also the Christians. That's sad.
But he hates them for some reason. Anyone who says Islam is not anti Semitic is like on cloud nine.
The only problem is that they're all Semitics.
So
Like
just,
they're all Semitic
just skip
people.
all this nonsense. So let's get to his three answers he gives. So the first question, what was the first portent of the hour? As for the first portent of the hour, it'll be a fire that'll collect the people from east to west. Okay.
That sounds
Will it
like
like
he always
collect
gives
them
like the worst
across the
predictions ever.
ocean? I
Like,
know,
man,
a fire that will like cover continents and collect people from east to west, whatever that means. I
sounds
mean,
like a
east, does
forest
that mean like from
fire
the Middle
maybe.
East to like the Western world? It's just gonna push them. Where the fuck is this fire coming from? It's too many
They're
questions.
lasers. Didn't you hear?
It's raising more questions than it answers. But this idiot who came up with it, I'm finding it hard to believe that this is even a real dude. This is even a real guy asking him these
Of
questions.
course,
So I
this
think
is
he just
bullshit. The
made up
Buhari
this
was born
story.
300 years after the shit happened.
Okay, anyway. Okay, the second question was what's the first meal of the people of paradise? As for the first meal of the people of paradise, it will be the caudate extra lobe of the fish liver.
That sounds
That's
horrible.
disgusting. I'm sorry. Is this what
Can
I
I say
slaved
that
my
we have
entire
such
life
great
to
cuisine on
go
Earth right
to
now
heaven to
that,
eat fucking
he couldn't
fish
even
liver?
come up with one thing from modern day food? Like, he's a prophet. He should know all the foods that, would
Right? He should be naming
eventually.
stuff that hasn't been
He should
invented
have
yet.
he should have been like chocolate cake
He
and
could have said something like,
fucking
"Oh, it's this
Sprite
food that,
remix.
we don't even have on it." But like, ew. Ew, the first meal of paradise will be the fish liver?
Sounds like hell.
It really does.
What if somebody is
I
allergic to like fish in real life and they hate fish so bad, so much?
well, like, don't quote me on this, but this was my understanding when I was Muslim. Like, obviously, oh, you leave your physical body behind, so any
Why would you
ailments you
need
had in
faith?
your physical body, exactly. You're supposed to, your spirit eats, but you're basically like a ghost. So I guess the food just falls through you or something. Because
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, I got distracted. But yeah, but this is not even the best part. The third answer to the third question is the best part. So after you get you some fish liver, he said, what makes a baby look like its father or mother?
Sperm, egg.
So the answer is if a man's discharge preceded that of the woman, then the child resembles the father. If the woman's discharge preceded that of the man, the child resembles the mother.
Excuse me, we have eggs.
My
Like,
bad. I mean, this is
I wonder if he,
revolutionary.
I wonder if
I don't
he
know
like knew
what,
that women
where
have
are
eggs and stuff.
you know, the embryologists, like the biologists and the modern day scientists, they need this information because they can study chromosomes and DNA all they want, but they didn't even know that, whoever nuts first, that's who the baby gonna look like. Furthermore,
So, okay, wait a
he should
minute.
have
So
told.
this is
He
all
was the
orgasm.
original
So it's like the
Maury.
woman has an orgasm
Because
before.
if she nuts first, then the dad will be like, "I am not the father," and then he'll be like, "No, no, 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 no. Let me do my prophet test. You are the father. Wait, which one of you came first? You are not the father. You are the father." He shouldn't have given this information to
You know
Maury.
what would have been cool if we could just like replicate ourselves, like by ourselves, like instead of
Yeah, I
having
mean,
to.
if the person okay, if the dude nuts first and then the kid looks like him, then why would they have any resemblance to their mother whatsoever? I mean, they were acting like back then a child will only look like one parent and not have any bearing whatsoever on the other parent. Like they really had that bad eyesight that they couldn't tell that a child resembles both parents. This is just unbelievable. But then look at the best part. After he got these three bullshit answers, he said, "I testify that none has the right to." Basically, he took his shahada right there, and then he tapped on a little extra part where he said, "The Jews are liars."
What's wrong with you? What did the
So he
Jews
did
ever
his
do to
shahada,
you?
and then he said, "The Jews are liars, stinking Jews, and if they know that I embraced Islam, they would accuse me of being a liar."
Can I just
Yeah.
say, low key, low key, this kind of make you want to be a Jew because it's like, why did they hate them so much? They must be really
Yeah, he
special.
was so against them. It's crazy. Let me zoom in real quick
Yeah.
on this one. I named this the hadith about Allah being an emo teen.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's
I
it's
can't
very
wait.
simple. It's very simple and straightforward. It says, narrated Abu Huraira, when Allah completed the creation, He wrote in His book, which is like wait, when He completed the creation, He wrote in His book, quote, "My mercy overpowers my anger."
Wait, wait, wait.
He wrote in his
Quote,
book. He
Dear
didn't tell
Diary.
anyone.
Wait,
Yes,
wait. Dear
he has a
Diary. Wait, what?
diary.
Who was he writing for? The
Exactly.
other
And
God?
that
His
and that
father
begs the
God?
question, like, why does he even have a book? Is somebody supposed to read it at some point?
Yeah, it sounds like he was talking to Odin and he was like, Father, please show me the way.
Odin. Ah, maldita sea.
I mean, Odin is probably older than Allah, so I don't know. Ooh, what if Allah is like a demigod and he's like Loki or something? Oh, that's
But Jesus
disrespectful
was
to
the
Loki.
demigod. Loki. Like Loki.
Loki.
No, that is disrespectful to Loki. Loki's the shit. So
Yeah.
I just love this part because he writes in his little book, "My mercy overpowers my anger." And it's like, why are you so
Why do you
angry,
have
bro?
why are you getting mad at these simple mortals?
He needs anger
You a god.
management. And then it says when he completed the creation. So this is not like, oh, he will say on the day of judgment. No, this is just right after he made his stuff. And nobody even did anything yet. He
Yeah.
already was thinking about how pissed off he was going to be. I mean, this is
Then
someone
he
with
shouldn't
some
have wrote
serious
this fan
emotional
fic
issues
or
who does
made this simulation
anything.
in the way like that it would piss him off.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
damn.
just funny. He wrote in his book, which is with him on his throne, in his little desk, his little notebook, his diary with a lock on it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, this one is fucking crazy. This is absolutely insane. I don't even know what to think of this. I mm, okay. Oh, the fuck. Can you see it?
Wait. Yes. A man bit the hand of another man, but in the process, excuse me, I can't see it that well.
Okay. Oh,
The
sorry.
the ladder broke one. Yeah, I can't see it that good. It's
Oh,
so far, like it's so small.
it is, but I zoomed in.
Zoom in a little bit more. I mean, I can't see it that good.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, now it's a little bit better. It says, a man bit the hand of another man, but in that process, the latter broke one incisor, I guess, tooth of the former, and the prophet forgave the latter. What?
Okay. So a man, let's refer to them as the biter and the bitten. So the biter bit a dude, but the guy who was biting, no, sorry. The the bitten dude broke the tooth of the guy who was biting him.
Okay, he punched him in the face.
And
Why couldn't they just say that?
well, I mean that's not clear. Maybe his hand was so hard that when the guy bit it, his tooth broke on his hard ass hand.
Damn, he must have been a warrior. Fuck.
It doesn't. It says in that process. What if he bit him and didn't let go, and he was just like holding
Man, that
on.
guy had some weak ass teeth, or that dude had a hand of
I mean, we
steel.
don't know if he was a career biter and he's just biting people for 40 years and his teeth just got weak over that period.
Yeah,
But the
that
best part
mishap
is
didn't
that the
help at
dude who
all.
bit the fucking guy in the first place, the ending says the prophet forgave the guy who got bit. So the antagonist was the victim here because his little tooth broke, but the guy who got fucking attacked, he had to get forgiven. Oh, okay, cool.
What? That
Yeah.
sounds so fucking dumb.
Yeah, so it's like what is it called? Victim blaming or whatever. Like it happens like no matter what. You gotta blame
Yeah.
the victim for some fucking reason and the attacker became the victim. So I just thought that was crazy. Okay. So I thought that this one really emphasizes his cult leader mentality in a way, in a very subtle but important way. And I'm going to zoom in.
Hmm.
We're not reading the Arabic part, so I'm just going to zoom in on the English, actually. So, Abdullah says,
While we were in the company of the Prophet in a cave at Mina, when Surat Wal Mursalat were revealed, and he recited it, and I heard it directly from his mouth. As soon as he recited its revelation, suddenly a snake sprang at us and the Prophet said, ordered us, kill it, kill it. Oh, sorry. We ran to kill it, but it escaped quickly. The Prophet said, it has escaped your evil, and you too have escaped its evil.
now,
Ooh, sounds
yeah.
profound.
But the important thing here is that he's the one who told them to kill it, but then when they didn't succeed, he turned around and said, "It's escaped your evil, my evil." Because you're the one who told us to do it, but because you just said it and you weren't actually carrying out the actions, you're completely absolved of all responsibility because you're not the one who was inciting violence against us, against the snake. See, this is why in modern culture, in modern society, and legal proceedings, the person who is telling someone to do something is held responsible if they are encouraging someone to do something. The person who carries the
Yeah,
action also gets punished, but you know, if the trial is held in the proper way, then the person who was instigating it will be held responsible too. But I love how he stepped back and he was like, "No, it's not my evil. I had nothing to do with that. You guys were trying to kill it, and I'm this innocent, kind, peaceful, compassionate man who would never kill a fly." Even if they killed the snake, he would have been like, "Damn, y'all are
that's
y'all are
wrong of you
fucking
guys.
vicious. You just killed the snake, damn."
It reminds me of this thing that happened to me when I was a kid, and how like these older girls told me to do something, and when I did it, they were like, "Oh, you did it, haha!" And they started laughing at me, and I actually cried. And then that's when I realized never to listen to no bitch. Like, fuck you guys. Never gonna listen to anyone telling me to do something. Because then they turn around and they act like they're innocent and they didn't just tell you to do it, just like the
Yeah.
prophet did.
Exactly. And this is why I said this is some cult leader shit. Because the thing is that cult leaders a lot of times they will tell their followers to kill someone, they will tell their followers to kill themselves, they will incite mass suicides, but then they'll try to pretend like they weren't responsible. They'll be like, I didn't do anything. I didn't
I
hold a
didn't,
gun to his
just because I
head.
said
I
it,
didn't force anyone to do anything. And nowadays, thankfully, we have a justice system that won't let people get away with saying it's not my fault because we can say, hey, you did convince these people to do this, and so you are at fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was crazy how he said he has escaped your evil. Like you guys is fucking evil trying to kill that snake. It's like, okay, thank you. um oh, this one's fucking hilarious. Here's some comedy for you. So there was somebody, well, I can't tell if it's a girl or a guy. Somebody had lice. And we know what's the cure for lice? Nowadays, we go out and we get some lice shampoo, some foam. If you're a dude and you don't got time for
Maybe shave
that, you
your
just
hair.
shave your head. Yeah, you just shave your head and that's the end of it. If you're a dude. If you're a chick, I don't know. You
It's a
just
little bit
do it.
harder,
Yeah, but
unless
you
you're a kid.
but you do, a treatment, maybe a couple of treatments. It is possible to get rid of
Hey, I heard
lice.
that lice makes your hair thicker. That's apparently it helps
um
your head. What
the
is it? Your scalp
the
health.
oil that they secrete or something.
I think it's
Well,
because they're puncturing the fuck out of your scalp and somehow
I
that
don't think.
getting
First
a
of
lot more.
all, I've never heard that claim that it makes your hair thicker, but I mean, there might be something to it.
Hey, it's one of those things, you know? It's one of those things that has a lot of conspiracy theories behind it. You know what I mean?
All right, let's read this. Let's read what Muhammad's
Mhm.
cure for lice was. So, this guy said, I had lice in my head in my head,
Hey,
not.
hold on, dude.
Oh.
Um, I have to leave this room, so
You
I'll
can
just
mute
one sec.
yourself.
Okay.
I'll just keep reading. So, Ka bin Ojra, whoever that is, said, I had lice in my head when I accompanied the Prophet in the year of Hudaybiyah, so much so that I feared about my eyesight because for some reason his lice was going to make him go blind. That was some severe lice. So Allah revealed these verses about. Oh, verse. Is this is in the Quran? Okay, this is tafsir. Okay. Whoever among you is sick or hath an ailment of the head. That's it. That's the verse. So Prophet called me and said, shave your head and fast 3 days, or give a flock of raisins to 6 poor men, or sacrifice a goat. So I shaved my head and sacrificed. Okay, so you don't just shave your head to cure lice. You have to also do one of the above. So basically, you have to shave your head and do a blood sacrifice to the gods,
So
and
potent.
and that's how you get rid of lice. Because there always has to be a blood sacrifice. You got to remember. In fact, I don't know who.
Doesn't it
Shit.
sound super pagan?
I don't know why people have stopped doing blood sacrifices. It's like the answer to everything, and it's the cure to everything. We need to go back to that because that's what you do when you go to Hajj. You gotta blood. Man, let's keep reading. It's such a recurring theme. It's like blood sacrifice for everything.
Yeah. Sorry
Wait, what's
about
this?
that. You know,
Oh,
like it's the morning, so
yeah.
people are getting up and stuff, so
Damn.
but anyways, I was just gonna say I always felt like it was super pagan and like weird and ritualistic to have to kill animals for literally everything. Like, oh, did you get your period and you feel sad? Let me kill a goat. Oh man,
You'll
your
feel
puppy
better.
died. Let me sacrifice a lamb. You know, I don't know.
Shit.
Oh, you failed a test? I'm gonna sacrifice a fucking duck. You know, I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? Shit. Probably. And they would sacrifice cows for freaking trivial
Did they
reason.
eat the cows? Like, I'm just wondering.
They used to eat cow back then. Sure, they used to eat beef. I mean,
No, I
but the
mean,
popular meats were like goats, lambs, and camel, and I don't know. They used to kill cows though.
oh,
My
cows.
bad.
Cows are cute. Actually, all animals are cute. Fuck. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay. So it looks long, but I'm just gonna like read through it real quick, and it's gonna be so obvious what this is about. So, Allah's Messenger, the true and truly inspired, said the matter of the creation of a human being is put together in the womb of the mother in 40 days. Oh, okay. So for the first 40 days, he's what, a sperm? And then he becomes a
Um,
clot of thick blood for another 40 days. So he is first a sperm, and then he's a clot of blood for 30 days. And then, sorry, 40 days. Clot of blood for a similar period, and then a piece of flesh for a similar period. It's really disgusting the way they describe embryology, and like this is clearly what he thought. People, modern Muslims, will try to be like, that's not what he meant. It was just being vague. Like he's not saying they were literally like that. And it's like, no matter how you want to interpret it, it's very wrong. You know, he was ew, a clot of blood, and then a piece of flesh, and then I'm gonna show you guys
that's
a
so
graphic
gross.
later on. So then after he's a piece of flesh and starts to become an actual human, he sends an angel who's ordered to write down four things. He's ordered to write down his deeds, his livelihood, his date of death, and whether he will be blessed or wretched in religion. This is all before he's born.
That's
It's
so
already
sad.
gonna be written whether he's blessed or wretched. So it's
Guess we're not
predetermined.
blessed, man.
I know.
Sucks
I'm
ass,
so
right?
It doesn't suck. I'm so happy. I'm like proud to be wretched.
Yeah, I know, Lilith. You were the
I
first
know.
wretched.
I am the first woman. Okay.
Sarah was
So
also
anyway,
wretched, but like, you know, in a different way.
yeah, it's all good. So the angel is to write down before he's even like a human, whether he will be, successful or not in religion. Then the soul is breathed into him. So a man amongst you may do good deeds till there is only a cubit of space between him and paradise. But then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing evil deeds characteristic of the people of the hellfire. So you have no control over, like, there's no free will. They try to pretend there's free will. Does this sound like free will to you? Even if you try to do good, if it's written down that you're going to be wretched in religion, boom, you all of a sudden start doing evil stuff. Similarly, a man amongst you may do evil things till there is only a cubit of space between him and the hellfire. But what has been written for him catches up with him and decides his behavior. Literally says, decides his behavior. And he starts all of a sudden doing deeds characteristic of the people of paradise. But yet they still want to act like humans have free will in Islam.
I mean,
Um,
it doesn't make any sense. How can they have free will? I mean, how shitty is it to before you even get born, before you're even born, you already have your destiny written, and it's like you're basically, I created this soul. Like God was thinking, He's like, I created this soul to live a miserable life and be like this corrupt, disgusting person who's gonna kill babies and drink, cow blood and fucking commit crimes and steal everyone's money. Like that's not fair. I don't know. Like
Yeah, I
stupid.
mean, it's disgusting on multiple levels because number one, you're already damning the individual without giving them a real chance because they have an illusion of free will without the reality of free will. But you're also damning the people, the innocent victims that person is going to hurt because then, if that person is a rapist and a murderer who, you're just letting them run free because even though you know that they're going to do the evil that you decided they were going to do, you have to sit back and let them do the evil that you predetermined them
It's
to
like a
do.
pre-programmed robot,
Yeah, and
that's
then
just gonna.
and then the people, you're just going to sit back and watch while he, rapes and murders these people, these innocent people, and what are they getting hurt for? Fucking whatever
Yeah,
reason.
man, this is another reason I don't like Islam, or
There's
I
so
guess
many
Abrahamic
reasons. So
religion.
that's why I just love so much when people say, when a Muslim guy will say, like, why did you leave Islam? Like, what caused your apostasy? Like, you say it like there's one reason. There's so many reasons. Please stop. Okay. This one, I'm not even gonna read the whole thing. I just wanted to point out to you. Look right there. Look in the first freaking line. It says, uh, Ibn Umar reciting the
My
poetic
father
verse
said,
of Abu Talib. No, yeah, I mean the second line. And a white person, i.e., the prophet, a white person who
"What?
is, look at it.
Was he a
Is
Viking? Was he from like a northern, man? Because I can't imagine the prophet looking like that, like
it says
Ragnar.
right there, a white person who is requested to pray for rain, blah blah blah, take care of orphans. And then again it says later in the fucking paragraph, and a white person who was requested to pay for rain. And obviously they were talking about him because there's this whole story about how they were in a drought, and they all begged him to ask Allah for rain, and he did a rain dance, and he made it rain, and he made it rain on these hoes.
Oh my God. This is how you can tell that, they always talk about like Muslims are not racist, but they
Bitch,
are.
please.
They admire the white convert more so than like a black convert or, an Asian convert.
Of
Even
course not. And then
modern day.
they try to reinforce that he was white, because in this next one it says narrator Enes added that he raised his hands during the rain dance to such an extent that the whiteness of his armpits was visible.
Was that like gray hair or what? Like, I mean, he didn't have no hair there, like no armpit hair.
No, he was
How?
hairless. He was some hairless
Oh
strimpy
my God,
dude.
he's like the hairless virgins that are gonna be in heaven.
He's like a hootie. Oh, I need to
Yo,
stop.
he's a fucking alien for sure. Oh my God, he's a fucking
He's a
Anunnaki.
reptilian.
He looks like he's an Anunnaki, the great tall whites.
The whiteness of his armpits. This is stupid. Who the fuck? They say it like it's a virtue, though. Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, hashtag. But can we fucking zoom in? Thank you. This thing did not want me to zoom in. Okay. So, this is about. It says there at the top, Bukhari, Book of Sacrifice on occasion of birth, Hakika. So, Dakika. No, but he said, all right, Abu Huraira, Prophet said, I'm sorry. Somebody in the chat said armpit hair is medicinal, especially camel armpit hair.
Oh my God.
Stop. Oh my
Man, they
god.
used to wax back then. They had like some good
I just
ass
imagine, like, this is me sober. Imagine if I got drunk and read Hadith. I would not be able to breathe. I couldn't.
Yo.
We should do that. We should have a special episode where I'm gonna have like a bottle of wine, and I like take shots every time they say some
Man,
predetermined
I
dumb
wish I
shit.
could do that. Like, I wish I could get some like wine and just drink it and like read
Get you
Islamic
a little thing of liquor.
literature.
Oh, I just had an idea. When we read
What?
that story, that ahem story later on,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm gonna have a drinking game with that story. Oh my god, I'm gonna get so hammered.
Oh my God, I just have to ask like someone to get me a bottle, and then I'm with you. Like,
Okay. Okay. All right, so let's read this. So I tell me this is not pagan. Check this out. Look at how not pagan Islam is. So the prophet
yeah.
said neither farah nor atira is permissible. Al farah nor atira is permissible. Al farah was the first offspring of camels or sheep, the firstborn son of the camel or sheep, which the pagans used to offer as a sacrifice to their idols. And Al Atira was a sheep which was to be slaughtered during the month of Rajab. So, because the pagans used to do it, he said, it's haram. You're not allowed to do it, because we wouldn't want people thinking we were pagan or anything. So he went out of his way to try and differentiate Islam from paganism by being like, you're specifically not allowed to do this thing. But it's hilarious because it's like you're only you're only avoiding the firstborn, but the rest are fair game. So it's like look, pagans used to offer the firstborn sheep to their idols. We're
I
offering
mean,
the secondborn sheep to our idol. It's
oh
totally
wow.
different.
But also, wow, your God doesn't deserve the firstborn? You must not think highly of your God.
I think they're just like he's trying to so hard to make. I love how he was trying so hard to prove like we are so not pagan. And
But they're
meanwhile,
so
it's like
fucking pagan.
pagan as fuck. Sorry.
He was so like, I mean, I almost like pagans a little bit more than like Muslims. Like, but I don't know if
Because
pagans
he
still
was so
exist.
dishonest about it by like demonizing pagans basically, but then turning around and doing the same exact thing that they do and trying to
Exactly.
pretend like he was so
A lot
above
of
them.
like old Christian, like older Christian, you know, like the older version of Christianity used to demonize them, but it's like they did a lot of evil shit too. It's like it's not like you guys are great. You know, you guys used to kill people too. You guys used to shame people, embarrass them. Um, a lot of things from what I've seen from like documentaries and stuff. At least
So
pagans were honest.
yeah, right. They were upfront about the shit that they thought. They didn't try to hide their dirty laundry. They were like, "Hey, you know, we gotta sacrifice what we gotta sacrifice. You gotta drain the blood and have your blood sacrifices and worship your idols, and you know, it is what it is." I mean, you know, there's idol worshiping in Islam, and Muslims will swear up and down they don't worship Muhammad, and they don't even realize they're worshiping him because
They
Allah is
really, really do.
this
If you mention
like,
him,
oh
holy
my
fuck, you
God,
should see the
they'll
look
be
on their
like,
face.
listen, you need to understand that Muslims love Muhammad more than their mother and father. And I'm like, yeah, you love a man you've never met more than your parents, but you don't worship him. And you expect us to believe that you don't worship him when you're infatuated with this dude and you're acting like you want to suck his dick. So sorry. Like, I went too far. But okay, like, stop and think about the concept of loving a man you've never met. It's like a fucking Disney movie. It's like Sleeping Beauty, where she's never met this dude and she like wakes up to this dude kissing her and she's like, "Oh, I'm totally okay with this. Welcome,
Yeah.
stranger I've never met. You're my true love. Excuse me, like I don't know you, but Muslims are supposed to accept the same exact concept from Muhammad,
Yeah.
who they've never met in their life, and they're supposed to love him more than their own parents. No,
You guys want to
that's
hear the
worship."
Aden?
No,
It's
no,
going on
thank
right
you.
now.
No, I can't hear it at all, but you know, you don't have to. Please don't. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's idol worship though, the way they look at Muhammad. So these next two are basically the same little story, but this is not going to be surprising to anyone. This is just damn it, zoom in you fucker. This is just a little snippet that I found showing
Wow, the father
how
is so neglected, you know? The
hmm?
father is supposed to be loved, all, like, he's supposed to be like the fourth one that's actually loved. You know, from like, you're supposed to
Oh
love your
yeah, because you're
mom.
supposed to love, but no wait, you're supposed to love Allah and then Muhammad and then your mom and then your dad.
Yeah, that's sad.
But technically you're supposed to love
Doesn't a
Muhammad and
man
then Allah.
deserve love from his parents? I mean, his, excuse me, his children.
Embarrassing. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They said it already in the chat. Yep, yep. So anyway, this hadith right here is showing the kindness and compassion of the prophet that all of these modern day Muslims want to really show the rest of the world, the hateful Islamophobic world, that you know they seem to have this weird concept that he was some kind of, you know, hateful warlord, and that's simply not true. He was a very caring, kind, loving, compassionate human being who taught love and peace and compassion for the rest of humanity. So you know, let's just read this thing. He lifted his head from the bowing in the last rak'ah, and he used to say, uh, okay, oh Allah, save this person and that person, save Salama, save Walid bin Walid, save the weak faithful believers. And then, oh Allah, be hard on the tribes of Mudar and send famine years on them like the famine years of Prophet Joseph. Send them some fucking famine because
Wow,
these
so
bitches
merciful.
deserve to starve to death and die. And furthermore, we can go a little, the next one is the same story, but it's more specific. Let's zoom in.
Oh God.
Okay. So in
I don't know
this
why I
one,
keep
he
saying,
said
oh God.
when we were with Abdullah, he said when the Prophet saw the refusal of the people to accept Islam. That's what happened. They weren't just some random people. They were like, no thanks, we don't want to convert. And he was like, oh Allah, send famine on them for 7 years, like the 7 years of famine during the time of Prophet Joseph. They
Why
deserved
the fuck was he so
7 years
spiteful? Like,
of death and
goddamn.
starvation.
He
um
was spiteful as fuck.
but you know what
You
was
know
funny? He
what?
wished for 7 years of famine and they only got 1 year. So apparently Allah wasn't really listening to you.
Yeah,
And
he
I
was
think
like,
it
you
was
know
just like a
what?
normal famine that just it was a coincidence. It just happened to be that that's how agriculture and stuff was back then. There were droughts, there were rainy seasons, there was famine like that. That's something that just happened.
Yeah.
All right. So, famine overtook them for 1 year and destroyed every kind of life to such an extent that the people started eating hides, carcasses, and rotting dead animals.
What a
I would
douchebag. He
like
wished for that.
to. Right, yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, whether or not that was a direct cause, a direct result of his wishing for it, that is what he wanted, and
I
he used
mean,
that. He
it's
probably
not
used
even
that as
about.
a excuse. But the funny thing is, like I keep saying, he asked for 7, and they only got 1 year, so that doesn't actually prove that his wishes were being answered. But to the people at the time, obviously they thought that that was because it was like, oh, that was proof that God was listening to him. But, is that a good thing that he wished death on these people? And this is the prophet of kindness and compassion, the
Oh my
religion
god,
of
he's the
peace.
pony of kindness and compassion.
This is the religion of peace. He wished for people to end up eating rotting dead corpses of animals. So yeah. And then there's some other gibberish about how like you look to the sky and see smoke. Okay. Whenever one of them looked to the sky, he would hallucinate seeing smoke because of how hungry he was. So I think it's like when you're hungry or in a like fasting state or starving state and you look up and you get like lightheaded and you see like, blackness in front of your vision and like stars and all that stuff. It's like that. So it
Yeah.
was like, oh, they saw smoke in the sky or whatever. And I think like, yeah, they were lightheaded and starving. So then um this guy who, if I'm not mistaken, Abu Sufyan was one of his enemies. Oh,
I'm not sure.
in he wasn't like very much of an enemy though. He wasn't his worst enemy. They'll try to pretend he was his worst enemy, but he wasn't, because there are a couple of quotes of him saying like not that bad things about Muhammad. So I think that he was like low key he liked Muhammad, but he like pretended to be his enemy so that he could like conquer it from the inside or whatever. So
Yeah.
anyway, he went to him and he said, "You ordered people to obey Allah, keep good relations with kith and kin. No doubt the people of your tribe are dying, so please pray for them." And I don't know, the rest is irrelevant. Like,
The prophet was so vengeful, man.
yeah,
He
he
was just
was
as
a
bad as
fucking
Allah.
vindictive asshole. I wish 7 years of famine and starvation and death on you. Thank you. You're so fucking kind.
I mean, even to this
Um,
day, like Arabs will be like making dua against you. They'll be like, I hope you have like the blue blindness. I hope you get cancer in your ass.
yes. Yeah. How do you make dua for something
I think
evil?
that I think they made it's because they have a perfect like example of the prophet doing that, like wishing evil things for people.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like
This I don't know.
yeah.
This is just the rain dance. This is not relevant at all. It just says that he went out and invoked Allah for rain. Like I don't know, like an ancient pagan rain goddess. He was like, "Hey, there's a drought. Can you have rain?" Or like a Native American rain dance. Like, yeah, it's like he asked Allah for everything, like he was his own personal assistant. He'd be like, "Hey, while you're out, can you, swing by the store and pick me up some grapes? And oh, don't forget to remind me." about, my daughter's recital next Thursday. And like every little whim that he had, like Aisha said, he would ask
Yeah.
he would ask Allah for everything. And
That was
sometimes
straight
he,
up an imaginary friend. I
of course,
can't.
because sometimes it would happen by coincidence and sometimes it wouldn't happen. But
Maybe he was
history
using the
over
law of
time,
attraction.
history
That's
has
it.
shut up. History has distorted to make it seem like everything he asked for is what he got. Of course, the times when he asked for stuff and didn't get it, that just got swept under the rug, and they would just pretend like, oh, he got everything he wanted. And if it was something he didn't want, they would still manage to spin it and be like, oh, you asked him for something, but actually it's it's better for you if you don't get what you wanted, and Allah knows best, and blah blah blah. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
So let's. What's the next one? Oh, this is the one that I was talking about before that some people mentioned.
Oh.
Uh, Sahih Bukhari narrated Anas bin Malik.
Uh,
Allah's apostle said, "You should listen to and obey your ruler, even if he was an Ethiopian black slave whose head looks like a raisin." I don't know.
I mean, damn. That's he's a racist, like
He
because he
was
claimed
roasting
to
the
be
fuck.
white,
Yeah, he was
and
like, the
then
white
now.
person with the white armpits comes to you and's like, if an Ethiopian guy, you know, is your
That's how.
ruler, you
That's. I
should
mean, you
listen
can
to
tell that
him.
he views black people as like subhuman. Like even that subhuman person, you have to listen to them if he's your ruler. Like I mean, because really think about
Yes,
it. They always
because
talk
that's what
about
he was
how
using him as an
and
example.
I remember like reading this when I was younger, and it was like these whiter looking uh people who I don't think that they were necessarily like European or anything, but they were like white looking, and they were so excited to have them be part of the become Arab, like I'm thinking of like the Sham people, like
Hmm.
Syrians, Palestinians, Lebanese, and whatever. They were so excited to have them be part of the Muslim world because it was to be Arabs specifically. They Arabized them. They called them the Arabized Arabs. You know what I mean? It's like, but they're not really Arabs. They're like Phoenicians and Assyrians or whatever. But they were so excited about that. But like the last people that they were really excited about becoming Muslim, or like anybody else. And not that they didn't want them to become Muslim, but they didn't consider them Arabized. Even to this day, like Sudanese people are Arabized Arabs, but really, in the end of the day, like Arab people don't consider them Arab. Even to this day, even if they claim to be Arab. I don't know. Oh, let's see. Whenever
um,
it says narrated Ennis, whenever a strong wind blew, anxiety appeared on the face of the prophet, fearing that wind might be a sign of Allah's wrath. Man, what the fuck were you doing? Why are you getting your daddy mad?
he was so paranoid. Whenever a strong wind blew, stop and imagine what your life would be like if every single time a strong wind blew, you jumped up like a scared, like, little kitty cat and looking around, wondering, like, if you're gonna get struck down.
Is
And why was
Oh
he
my
the
God.
most afraid of getting struck down? Did he feel like he was blasphemous and low key was like paranoid of the actual real God coming out and being like, I'm sick and tired of you spreading all these lies. You know good and well that you never met me and you didn't talk to my angel and I'm about to fuck you up. Like, why was he so scared?
It's because he was working with Satan. Like, and
It's
Satan
like
was,
every
he knew
single
that.
time a strong wind blew, he would get anxious. He would have an anxiety attack,
Wait a
fearing that
minute.
he was afraid of wind.
What was that god that controlled wind and stuff? What's
Oh
his
my
name?
God. I don't know. I don't know, but like they have like the gods of weather. Damn, I don't know. I can't think of it. All I'm thinking of are like superhero characters from like Marvel and DC. Um,
Yeah.
Whatever. But still, maybe
Thor?
he was afraid of fucking Aang, the last airbender.
Oh shit. I mean, I always like the fact that they called him the last airbender, playing off like the last prophet.
Yeah, the last
'Cause
prophet. No, but like,
But
I
I
love
wouldn't say
it.
that
He
it
was
was anything
afraid
like
that wind
Muhammad.
and storms would be a sign of God's wrath. I mean, jeez. I call this one Hadith zombies. This is some good shit right here.
Okay.
I read
Go
this one
forth,
to you
my
earlier.
child.
A man was crushed to death by his she-camel and was brought to Allah's messenger, who said, "Give him a bath and shroud him, but do not cover his head and do not bring any perfume near him." But he's a rotting corpse. What? Oh, don't bring him any perfume because he will be resurrected reciting talbiyah. Okay, so because he's gonna be a zombie, he doesn't deserve to smell good. I don't understand you,
So
dude.
don't bring. So is that the way to bring people back to life? Spray some perfume on them.
No, no, he said don't bring any perfume. So what you have to do is you have a dead person, you got to give them a bath and roll them up in a sheet, but leave their head poking out of the sheet. Don't cover their head and don't embalm them or spray any perfume on them. And then you're gonna resurrect them because they're gonna
It
come
doesn't
back as a
perfume.
zombie
Doesn't
wrapped.
perfume wake like not really dead people up and like
Yeah,
people
like
who
they
are.
have those little things that are very strong smells, and they like crack them near their nose, and it like wakes people up.
Yeah, because I remember like a long time ago, there was a person that used to have this really strong, disgusting perfume. And every time he would go and take a shower and then he would spray it on himself. And I would smell it all the way from a different
Oh
room
my God, I
and I
hate
would
that
wake up.
stuff. They call it musk.
Yeah.
And like especially the certain type of like oils that they would have, like the Arab, sorry, I don't want to be sound racist right now, but the Arabian like oils that got really popular with the like spread of Islam and the Nation of Islam. Like one of the things that New York Muslims do is they will have these little shops and they will set up and sell these oils by the hundreds, these little vials of strong smelling oil, and
Disgusting.
they'll be like, "Oh, this one is frankincense. Oh, this one it was a favorite of the prophet," and that one will be like it'll sell out because they'll be like, "Oh my God, give it to me! I want to smell like him," even though they open it and they're like, "Low key, this smells disgusting and it's giving me a headache," but I don't care.
Hmm.
Sunnah, brother, ride on with your sunnah. Okay, there's a question in the
I
in the
want a dude to
comments.
smell like bubble gum. I don't and smell like, you know.
Bubblegum. Yo, this is very important. We've talked about this before. AAA said off topic, but do you think Muhammad was OCD?
Hell yes.
Yes. He was OCD as fuck, and not only was he OCD, he obviously had a personality disorder, and I have my own personal theory, but I don't really say it very often, but I'll say it right here. I personally think he had an eating disorder as well. Um, I think that he was like I don't want to say anorexic because that's a very specific medical term and it can't be proven such a long time after. But I will say eating disorder. He had a definite eating disorder in my eyes. And if you look at a lot of different sources and hadiths, you'll see it. You'll see the pattern and you start to understand why. Number one, OCD is actually very highly found in people with eating disorders. They go hand in hand. People with eating disorders become OCD about their food. And you'll see that in these hadiths about how during Ramadan, when he's fasting, which think about it, you're encouraging people to stop eating for 30 days. That doesn't sound like an eating disorder. He wanted an excuse to be able to go a long time without eating. And then when it would be time to break fast, he would say like, "Oh, I only need 3 dates and like a little cup of water." And then they would be like always encouraging him to eat, and then he would say stuff like, "Sometimes I eat my dates and break my fast and I'm full. I'm not even hungry after that." And he just make a lot of excuses that sounds like a person with an eating
Ooh.
disorder. And
And it
then
reminded
remember
me
the
of the
one
sips
where
thing, like of like when you take a little sip of a drink. When you're drinking, you're supposed to take little tiny sips,
yeah,
tiny
there's
sips.
so many quotes. There's one where he says, you're supposed to fill your stomach with a third of food, a third of water, and a third of air. Well, we know that you're not actually supposed to fill your stomach with air because that's what lungs are for. So,
Basically, like you're only supposed to eat like a quarter of what like a normal human is supposed to eat or something.
yeah, I mean,
Because yeah.
this is actually such an overwhelming point that I had plans to make an entire video about his probable eating disorder. Like I was gonna title it like, Muhammad was anorexic or some shit like that for
Ooh, I like
I'm,
that.
I'm
Good
probably still
stuff.
gonna do it because like the overwhelming majority, it's just there's just such an overwhelming mass of evidence pointing to him possibly having an eating disorder. For example, when he went up into the mountains for 3 days before his first supposed revelation or his meeting with Gabriel, um, how do we know that he had food with him? Did he take 3 days worth of food up there? Or did he go up in the mountains to fast by himself without Khadija nagging him, telling him to eat? I mean, I'm not saying it's definite, but it's a possibility. He went up there and just didn't eat or drink for 3 days and had a hallucination at the end of 3 days.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of hadiths about like his weirdness towards food and how he perceived other people who ate a certain way, and his wives, even he encouraged them to eat a small amount of food. And nowadays Muslims will be like, no, you don't understand portion control. Back then it was revolutionary because that's the solution to the obesity epidemic of today, but you guys don't even understand. First of
They
all,
didn't
portion
have
control.
obesity back then. I don't think
I know,
so.
but they're trying to say that if we used his methods of restrictive eating and obsessive eating disorder type disordered eating habits, then we wouldn't have obesity, which is simply not true. Eating disorders actually contribute to obesity because of the way the human brain works. When you restrict yourself from eating for a certain period of time, it like overrides your willpower and it forces you into a binge. So that actually
Yeah.
doesn't work at all. But it's yeah, I mean, I didn't save it, but there was one where he said that the woman came out of the fucking wilderness or the bushes in the forest. I'm gonna find it. And she said she didn't eat anything for 30 days and she only drank Zamzam water for 30 days. And he said, "Oh, Zamzam water can also serve as food."
I wonder if she felt that.
Yeah, I mean, he said, yeah, he goes, she goes, it was so weird because I only drank Zamzam water for 30 days and I didn't feel hungry and I had wrinkles in my stomach or some dumb shit about how her skin on her stomach had wrinkles or folds. And then he goes, yeah, didn't you know Zamzam water is not just water, it can also serve as food, it can sustain you. And there's another hadith where we're getting so off track, but this is the last one. There's a hadith where he was fasting for an extended period of time and not just normal fasting. He would not break his fast at night. He would not eat iftar and suhoor. He skipped them and like it would come maghrib and he wouldn't eat at all through the night for extended period of time, for days at a time. And then he noticed some people around him were trying to copy him and also not eat for the same period of time. And he went to them and said, you guys can't do the same thing as me because I have little angels that bring me food in the middle of night. So you guys, if you try to copy me, you'll
Man, he sounds like a fucking weird schizophrenic dude.
die.
Like he really does. Little angels? Are you mean little fucking demons? Like I mean, demons don't necessarily have to look ugly. They could be beautiful. I mean, I don't
No,
think
but I
that
mean,
I'm
I
saying
fully
honestly,
believe
look,
that
why would if demons are supposed
he
to
was
deceive
lying.
you, right? They wouldn't be ugly, would they? I mean, they would be beautiful. They would look like, like angels. And in fact, aren't the angels described as actually being ugly as fuck? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Now they're coming for me.
Shut up. No, but like, it's just. Oh wait, can we acknowledge this? Uh,
What's
wait.
that rapper? Is that Master Splinter?
No, wait. You can't say anything so that they can see the image. Because when my microphone is activated, that's when it shows up. So it's this cute little mouse, and he says, "Oh shit, that's too close." He says, "Yeah, I totally believe an angel talked to you on a mountaintop without anyone else around." Cute. Hmm.
I love the way that they drew the character,
I
like,
know. I
especially
love that
Muhammad.
the fucking yeah. I love that the mouse has his eyes pointed in different directions. No, but what were we talking about a
He
second
represents
ago?
all the Muslims
Yeah.
that, low key felt that this shit was bullshit, but they were like, gotta survive. Like, I want to go to
Oh,
heaven.
this is what we were talking about earlier. Oh my
No,
God.
oh
So
no.
this is embryology according to the Quran. Step one, sperm. Step two, clot of. But no, they skipped it. Oh
I
yeah,
feel
okay.
like
Step
they thought
two,
that it was a clot
clot of blood.
simply because people had miscarriages and stuff like that, and so that's what
Yeah,
came
and when they
out.
have a miscarriage, you can't see the microscopic fetus. So when they would just have like big, huge blood clots, they were like, "That's the baby." Idiota.
Yeah.
Imbéciles. Anyway, so yeah, step two, blood clot. Step three, actually, step three is lump of flesh, but then they try to be like, "Oh, that's when it's a fetus." As in parentheses, chewed gum. They say it resembles chewed gum. That's the worst part. Shit.
Ew.
And then it says bones. Bones and the bones become clothed in flesh.
Ugh.
I swear to you, that's actually what it says in the Quran. I read it recently.
Mhm.
This verse. And it's like and then you imagine it being like clothed in flesh like the guy from Silence of the Lambs, who he was a
Ew.
serial killer and he
You
made
know I
clothes
don't
out of
watch
his
scary
victim's
movies.
skin. Whatever, he made clothes out of his victim's skin. He made like a coat out of human skin and he clothed himself in flesh. So, that's what Allah does when he makes
Hey,
humans.
it's not much different than getting like, fox fur.
Oh, don't talk to me about fox fur. It's so brutal and inhumane. I watched a video of a fox getting skinned alive and they pulled the skin off of it and it was just
Oh
trembling
God,
and the
no.
blood and it was just skin and blood on the outside.
Oh no.
Mm.
I'm just
Anyway,
wondering something. Couldn't they just shave an animal and then like put the fur on like some other thing and make it into a coat instead of having to murder
yeah,
it?
but that's too difficult. Shaving is too difficult because they don't. It's it. I don't even want to get into it. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after the bones get clothed in flesh, ta-da! Then he's a human. It's the subhanallah
Oh
of it.
my
I
I
love
don't know
how he
why
comes
that's
out
so
with a cane and everything, fucking sunglasses and a beard.
funny. I'm so sorry. That's so funny.
That's embryology for you, though.
Subhanallah.
It's so cute. Yeah, let's go to the next
Oh my
one.
God.
Oh man, this is the last one.
Okay.
He says, Satan pees. I can't even read it with a straight face. He says, Satan pees in your ears if you don't wake up from morning prayers. Abu Bakr. Who tells you these
Satan's
things?
got nothing better to do.
Satan is so petty.
Why
Honestly,
does he
like,
punish Muslims for not doing
yeah, actually,
masturbation?
that doesn't sound like Satan. That sounds like Allah. Like, is Satan commissioned by
Allah,
Allah? Look at this.
dude,
Actually, doesn't make sense. He pees in your ears if you don't wake up. Is he
why is
trying
he?
to wake you up? He's like, "Psh,"
Yeah.
it's like, what is that wet feeling? Oh shit! Thanks for waking me up,
Sometimes my ears
Satan.
feel
That's
wet, and then I have to use a Q-tip, and then like it's like, and then it's like not that wet anymore. It's like, oh good, my ears feel
he
better.
gives you a wet willy to wake you up for Fajr.
Would
Who needs an
pee.
alarm clock?
So he like dips his finger into his pee, and then he puts it in your ear.
No, no, his penis is so small that it can fit in your ear.
He's fucking your ear. Oh my god, it's like that episode of like Family Guy when Meg like tried out that new sexual
Oh
position
yeah.
where the guy was fucking her in the
It's like
ear.
you're fucking, and they said, you know what they say, once you go black, you go deaf.
Oh my god.
No, but that's it. That's the last picture. I'm gonna give a shout out to mocartoons.com. That's where I got these last few slides. It's like a whole archive of wonderful comics if anyone wants to check it out. They have, it's like offensive, dude's an ex-Muslim and all that stuff. But his comics are really funny. Anyway, I'm going to, oh shit, how do I turn off screen share? Oh, there it is.
Okay, wow,
All
that
right.
was very
That's it.
entertaining.
That was awesome. We had everything. We had some comments. We had some hadith. The hadith, like, dare I say, they were funnier than the comments. Like sometimes, actually, except the one that said Satan worshiping trannies. That was pretty good. But
Yeah.
like, hadiths are so much fun to read, and this is just scraping the surface. I was looking through hadiths and I was like scrolling through the different chapters, and every single one after the other was like ridiculous nonsense. And it's like there's too much content. There's too many hadiths that are ridiculous. And I think it's so funny how if you come to a Muslim and you're like, hey, you know, how much weight do you give hadiths? You know, what do they hold? And they're like, oh, hadiths, it depends on the hadith. You gotta be skeptical. All of a sudden they become so skeptical, right? Even though they haven't gone overseas and studied hadith science for 7 years like they want you
You
to
know how
do.
embarrassing? You know how embarrassing it is when someone comes up and they're like, "Oh, I went to like this Islamic university and I'm like this, professor in fucking Quran or whatever the fuck, Hadith." I'm like, that's so embarrassing. You wasted so much of your life. You're such a loser. Oh my God.
Yeah, I feel no, I mean, it does make you sad when somebody's like, I'm a hafiz. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And they're expecting congratulations. And you're like, no, I'm sincerely, my condolences for your loss of
Oh,
however
oh,
long it took
can
you
I
to
say
learn that
one
shit.
one benefit that they get? Okay, so I know this like guy who's like an atheist. I mentioned him earlier, and he used to be very religious, and he memorized a lot of the Quran, and he's really good at like memorizing lyrics. So that's the only that's great. Like he could sing a song really well. He's good. And it's so funny because it's like he'll listen like he'll like probably listen to a song like one time, two times, and he's like, okay, that's it. He's got it in his mind, and it's like, wow, that's the only
That is
fucking
a
benefit.
talent. But you know
Yeah,
something? That's it's like it proves that this is not, that's a rare thing. It's not something that's easy for the majority of the population. So it's funny that
yeah.
everyone is, according to Islamic doctrine, everyone is supposed to be a Muslim, the majority, as many people as you can get to convert, the the goal is to get the entire world to be Muslim, and everyone's supposed to memorize the Quran, and it's just not practical. Like, I'm sorry,
Oh,
not everyone is capable of memorizing an entire big ass book.
oh, and remember, I told you about my friend. He said something. Not this isn't the same guy. This is another guy, and he was like, I hope that everyone in the world is Muslim or becomes Muslim. And I said, oh, that would be so bad. Because I don't tell him, like, hey, I don't believe in it. In his mind, I'm like a Muslim girl. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't want that. And he said, why? Well, I said, because I love the diversity of religions in the world. And if everyone was the same religion, whether it's Christianity or whatever, it would be so boring. There would be no spice to life. It would just be like everyone's the same. And that's boring. But really, I wanted to say, like, are you fucking crazy? Like, do we need like more Sharia law motherfuckers watching you and I told him that I did say like, oh, okay, well, if the whole world was Muslim, then we wouldn't have options, and the whole world wouldn't have freedom.
Yeah. But like the
Straight
funny
up.
thing is this has already Muslims like to ignore what their own prophecies are, that Muhammad said what was supposed to happen. So it goes like this. There's supposed to be um Which one comes first? Right. Okay. So the Dajjal is supposed to come, and then Jesus is supposed to come back. Second coming of Jesus. Jesus is supposed to fight the Dajjal and kill him, and then after the Dajjal is dead, Jesus is supposed to bring 40 years of only Muslims on the entire face of the planet. So at that point, everyone is supposed to be Muslim for 40 years, and then after Jesus dies again or goes back up to his penthouse or whatever, um, then slowly depravity and sin is supposed to take over the world again, and then it'll flip. So then there'll be no Muslims, and Islam will go extinct, and there will be only sinners on the face of the planet, and religious people will go extinct to the point where they'll say, I actually read this hadith the other day when I was looking through these ones, when I was looking through Bukhari, and they said they said that the men, the old men, the elderlies and the grandpas will say, we heard people back in the olden days used to say La ilaha illallah, but we didn't know what it meant, but we just said it because we heard them saying it or some dumb shit. But then basically they're saying
Yeah.
that, Islam will go extinct. This is like a Muslim prophecy that Islam will go extinct. Like, why are you fighting it? Just
Oh
let
my
it
God, that's
happen.
beautiful. Ooh, when's this gonna happen? Can it happen soon? Because, I'm so embarrassed, honestly. Oh my God, I don't even need to get
Oh,
into it.
okay,
Like the
wait. In the
whole,
comments it says the sun the sun is supposed to go opposite from in the opposite direction. So
maybe that's evolution.
so this is funny. I actually read a hadith about that too. I wish I had shared it too if I knew we were going to talk about this. So according to Muhammad, uh God orders the sun every single day. It must be tedious. Every single day God orders the sun to rise east.
Oh, he's Princess Celestia.
I know. He makes the sun rise every single time. God orders the sun to rise every single morning, and then it rises, and then it comes
Can't he just
down.
do like an automated system? Like, just
When it
rise, dude.
sets, guess where it goes? It goes to the throne, and it goes under the throne. And I was like, is the throne Australia? Is the throne the South Pole? No, because the Earth is obviously not round. Um,
It's
but even
flat.
if it was,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So he orders the sun to rise and set, and then when it sets, it goes to the throne. And then he orders it to rise and set, and it goes to the throne. And one day it's going to go under the throne, and then it's going to be like, hey, same routine as always. And he's like, you know what? No, we're going to mix it up. Go the other way. It's going to fucking go
Is that really
backwards.
gonna
And,
fuck up the world
oh,
so much, though? I'm just thinking.
I mean, this is proving that Muhammad thought that we live in what is that word? The opposite of heliocentric. Shit. How did I forget that word? Anyway, like he didn't believe in a solar system of planets rotating the
Yeah.
sun. He believed that the sun clearly he believed that the sun rotated the earth and it was literally moving every day and setting, and not that the earth orbits the thing. So so I mean he's had a lot of stories. He did say that the sun sets in a muddy spring, but he
We're
also said
actually,
that
well,
it goes to the
don't forget that
throne.
the Earth is actually on a turtle's back and it's like on its shell.
Yeah, I forgot. Did you just say it's on Donatello's shell? I'll
Yeah.
kill you. Poor Donatello. He never gets anything good.
I mean, actually, there's like four Earths, and what is it like Raphael? Like, I don't know which Earth we're on. Like Raphael's back or Michelangelo or
Oh
what's
shit.
going on?
This universe. Okay, we're done. We're going way off topic. Um it's getting late. I think we should probably end it because we're just gonna keep talking nonsense.
Yeah.
I have a
Well,
couple
it was
plans
really
for
nice.
some upcoming streams. I have some ideas. I'm gonna make a couple cute little videos, edit them together, post them up, and I'm gonna and we're gonna do another live stream in not too long from now.
Yeah.
All right. So
Anyways, it was really nice talking to you guys,
this
and it was
is
really fun talking to you,
mm,
Lilith.
Lily. It
Lilith
was a great way to
of
spend my
the Garden
Friday
of Eden
night.
that was
You
kicked
mind?
out and stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't kicked out. I told that broke ass nigga, Adam, I was like, you ain't got a job? What am I even here for? Shh, you
You
better.
ain't got no money. You ain't got nothing for me, bitch. I'm gonna go
I
fucking angel.
I need money to get my nails did. And you sitting up here talking about, I don't need a job. Excuse me. Like, I'm not saying I'm a gold digger, but I ain't messing with no broke. Okay? That's all.
Oh.
He didn't have a job. His job was memorizing the names of the animals. He didn't even do that right.
What, they had names? I thought that was something that modern science, like, and not modern science, but science in general was like,
Man, science, you should know by now that science is a myth. Like, you know,
of course, nothing can be
honestly,
proven.
everything from back in the day was what was really true. And people have forgotten their traditional values and customs about the about where hereditary features and traits come from has to do with who came first and how to get rid of lice. You got to sacrifice a goat. I mean, these are our core values. We cannot forget the traditions of our ancestors. And I'm going to leave you with
Yeah,
that.
you know.
We're going to
Okay.
we're going to end up
Have a blessed shaitanic day or night.
good night everyone. Peace out and
Praise Odin.
we'll talk to you guys later. Odin? I don't know. I
Yes,
haven't met
Odin.
him yet.
Odin, he's kind of like low key the Satan, but whatever.
Don't say low key, because Loki is his son, and you're gonna have me confused.
He's like
Loki's his
basically
adopted
Satan.
son. How am I supposed to know? And furthermore, like my
He's his adopted son? I didn't know that.
in Thor, he
Maybe.
is. Loki is
Oh,
his adopted son. Oh, my bad. Is that a spoiler? How have you not watched Thor? That's like the first
man, you
one.
know I don't like Marvel stuff. I like DC stuff.
Don't say that. They're Avengers movie. They're main
You drink
canonical
Pepsi, I
Avengers movies.
drink Coke. You
Listen,
like
bitch,
Marvel,
let me
I
tell you
like DC.
something. I like DC too. Don't try to play me. It is possible to like both.
I know. I like some
It's
Marvel
like
things, not gonna lie.
it's like trying to tell me that I only like men or women. You know it's possible to like both. Wink wink.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm done. Bye.
But what is it? Bye, Lily.
He said low key, low key. Hey, we see you. Hey, shout out to AAA. He's funny. All right. Bye,
Oh,
everyone. Good
what you
night.
say? What you say? What you
What
say about DC? Talking about
the
it's
fuck?
pretty shit. Nah, you pretty shit.
Shut up. But it didn't say that. It says I pretty shit, obviously. He was talking about himself. Mm. I love
Was he?
DC.
Was he?
You know how Batman was like my favorite, and it's not because he just doesn't have any fucking superpowers, and he's just a regular human. I just love the
I'm
Arkham.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to be a douchebag, but
DC originally, don't you remember when I was like, man, fuck Marvel, DC is the shit. And then
yeah,
they started getting really good quality with their movies, and I was like, okay, these Avengers movies aren't half bad. Okay.
yeah. I mean, I need to watch it for real
I
though.
gotta
I've
watch
been
I gotta
wanting to
watch
watch
Thor
it.
Ragnarok.
I
Dude,
watched like
isn't
a clip of
Ragnarok like
like
an ancient?
Thor fighting with like this robotic like
Yeah.
thing that Loki created.
I'm done. This is a
Yeah.
conversation for a private like call.
Yeah. I mean,
Bye
unless you guys want
everyone.
us to talk about DC and Marvel next time, just ask and we'll do
A
it.
completely non-religious conversation. Like no one will listen. Get out of here.
Hey, I think people would really listen if we incorporated the religious things into DC and Marvel.
Yeah, we talked about like the
We
pagan
can
gods
discuss.
and the Norse
No,
god
but we can
because
also
isn't
discuss
Odin
like what the religions they even have in DC because I'm really I think they said Batman is Catholic or something.
Batman
Um
is Catholic? You
yeah,
just
that's his
blew my
background.
mind. He's not
Yeah.
Catholic.
I'm not saying that he's Catholic like actually believing in it, but I'm saying his family is Catholic.
His family is dead. That was a low blow.
his parents, their background is Catholic.
Okay.
And then Superman, well, I'm guessing
Superman,
he's Christian
he's
because
from like
he's
the
so
middle
wholesome.
of buttfuck nowhere,
No,
corn
but he's so
country,
wholesome.
Kansas.
He must be a Christian.
He's very Christian. He fucking grew up in a church.
He's super Christian. I wonder if he actually believes in that because I mean, since he's like Superman,
Hell
would he
no.
like
Like
be like,
he's an alien. How could he believe? Okay, see when you have powers, then when you hear someone else having powers like Jesus, it's not that, he would just be like, "Oh, Jesus is probably Kryptonian like me." That doesn't mean he's God just because he could do miracles.
yeah, because I mean, Superman is technically Jesus. Like,
What did you just say? No, Jesus.
Superman
I'm done.
is no
Superman is
Superman.
Jesus. This is my new slogan. Superman is Jesus. I'm gonna rename this chat. Superman is Jesus.
Oh my god, yes, do it.
All
Anyways, you
right. All
guys,
right. We're
we'll
done.
let you
We're done. We're
guys,
for real this time.
go to sleep.
Good night.
Because I have
Bye.
work and stuff,
Me
so
too. Bye.
yeah.